Hey everybody, today I'm going to make pickles. It's going to be pickles in the red onions, but I've been practicing on some different recipes, and this is a bread and butter recipe. There's a little bit of prep going along with it. Sorry you're going to hear my bird in the background. He's enjoying all this too. But there's a little bit of prep to it, so I kind of already started. I bought the package of little pickles at Sam's, the smaller baby size. You can do the English cucumbers at pickles, the small cucumbers, not pickles, they will be pickles. But you can do English cucumbers or the smaller baby pickles or pickling pickles. So I bought a package at Sam's. I cut them all. You want to cut them about 1/4 of an inch in size. I cut off the ends, and I cut them all, the whole package up. I cut up a whole red onion and put it in here. So after you do that, the thing is you want them to be crisp. And so what I'm doing here is a process that will help them be crisp instead of soggy. I've cut them all up. I put about a tablespoon to a table to 2 tablespoons of salt all in it. Mixed it up. Put it in a colander. I have a big bowl that I put ice in it, and I set the colander on it, and what it's doing is straining more water out of the pickles. I put this in the fridge, and you want to do it for an hour up to 4 hours. Different recipes had different time amounts. Last time I did it with 1 hour, and it was good. I'm thinking if I do it longer, then it'll be crispier. This time I did it a couple of hours. So basically, now that process is done, and I just put them in the refrigerator and went away. Now I've got this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse the salt. I'm going to rinse them all to get all the salt off of them. And then I'm going to set out these towels, and I'm going to lay them out single file on the towels so that they can air dry. And we want to do that at least an hour and a half. That whole process is just to make them crispy. This is the longest part of it. You can do it and go away and come back later. The rest of it is really quick and simple, but I wanted to get you going on it. I'll go ahead and rinse these, but I just kind of wanted to show you some of the ingredients involved here too. I've got dill, which I've got this at the store. I got this that I'm going to plant, so I have more of it later. This is garlic chives because I want to have a garlic flavor, and I've got garlic pods. These are jalapenos out of my garden, and I'm going to do some with the seeds in and some with the seeds out. Of course, the ones with the seeds in, we'll cut them in half. The seeds in will be hotter jars. But if you really want them spicier, because some people consider jalapenos mild, you can do a habanero or a hotter pepper with it. But I'm going to buy jalapenos from my garden. I've also got that's some of my deal. But I've also got some thyme from my garden that I've got set out. I'll probably get a little bit more for them. And then this is some rosemary and mint. I just have basil, because I love the flavor of basil and everything. And I grabbed some mint. I don't think I'm putting mint in it. But then also, we've got the fennel seeds and the yellow mustard seeds. And of course, you want apple cider vinegar and white vinegar. I don't have out, for bread and butter pickles, we will use sugar. Last time I think they were too sweet, and it was almost, it was 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar, and I can't remember how much regular sugar. I'm going to cut that recipe down and use less this time to see if I can still get the sweet without it being too sweet, and we have all the heat here. So that's basically what we're going to put in it, but we're going to do that later. I'm going to show you, we're going to go ahead and strain these. All I'm going to do is take the colander out of the bowl, and I'm going to rinse them out. Just rinse all the salt off and strain them. And you can add more salt later. They're going to be salty, but this gets the salt from this out of it. The amount I made will make several jars, and you just want to pack them as tight as you can. Okay, and I spilled some. Okay, we're going to strain these. I'm going to go ahead and dump this all out. And you can see the green water from the cucumber juice. I'm going to let these strain a little bit longer just to get what water I just put in them out. The drier, the more you do this, I mean, you get a crispier pickle, and it does make a difference. You can get the flavor either way. You can get the flavor either way, but it's the crispiness that's important. So I'm going to spread these out, and I hope that this is enough. I may need another towel, but we'll get it going so you can see what it looks like. And spread it, move it over, try to keep it. I know I'm going to need all the space. So, and you basically just want them single so they can dry out and not be on top of each other. Just the best you can. So I'm just going to, just spread it out. And then just let them sit there and dry. Now it's just dry out a little bit. And that's it. I'll see you back in a couple of hours and we'll finish this process up. Okay, it's been about 2 hours and I've already taken them off of the towel and put them in here. But basically I laid them out single where they're not on top of each other and let them dry for about 2 hours. So this is what you got. So I'm going to go ahead now and put them in my jars and then we'll make the brine. And basically I'll explain. It's refrigerator pickles. You have canning and you have refrigerator. And the difference is if you can them, then you're doing a water bath, and after you can them and do everything, you put them in a water bath with the lid sealed. And from that point, you can keep them outside of the refrigerator as canned in a cabinet or something for a long period of time. With refrigerator pickles, it's basically fermented, and so what I'm making a brine which ferments them. They have to be kept in the refrigerator. So, and you can eat them like in a day or so, but they're really better if you put them back for about 2 weeks in the refrigerator before you eat them. And they're good for about 6 months. You might start looking at them, and they never last 6 months. I haven't had any that last that long, but from everything I've read, that they can last up to 6 months in the refrigerator. But you want to leave them in the refrigerator, not outside. After we make them, we do let them cool outside the refrigerator and leave them out in like 70-ish degrees till they're all cooled, because that helps the fermenting before we put them in the fridge, but that is the only time. So anyways, back to canning. So I have cleaned my jars and I've sterilized them, and I sterilized them in the dishwasher, so you can do that, and then they're ready to go. The other option is to put them in a 200-degree oven after you clean them and put them in there and let them sterilize. But everybody I know does them in the dishwasher. That's a really easy way to do them. So basically, before we put the pickles in, we're going to put the spices in. I want to make one spicy and one not spicy, because I just want to kind of taste the difference. And I'm going to do them a little different. When I made them before, they were really good, but I thought they were a little too sweet. So I'm going to make it with less sugar this time, and we'll find out how they turn out, but I think they'll be good. So I've already cut up my jalapenos, and this is garlic chives, and I've got dill and garlic and basil. So I'm going to stick those in, and then I've got my seasonings that we're just going to put in, and I eyeball it, but you can put like a teaspoon of all of it together. A lot of times you can just mix it all in a bowl. In fact, I'll do that. We'll mix it in a bowl and then put it in so you can get a better idea. But first of all, I'm going to make this my spicy one. So the ones with the seeds, I'm going to put several in there in the bottom. And I'm going to do my chives. May actually put a couple more than that. And I'll put a couple garlic pods. And and then this was thyme out of my garden. And I went ahead, this is rosemary. I just got different flavors because I think that I'll put more garlic in there as we go up, just to get a little more in there. So now I'll put the chives. I'll do the same thing on this. I'm not going to put as much. Those don't, well, they do have some seeds. I'll go ahead and put it's about the same. I'm going to put red pepper flakes in that, though. Add a little more. That's the dill. That's the basil. And I'll get that rosemary in there. And then I'll add some more garlic to them in a minute. So basically now, let me get a bowl. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it. And you don't really have to do this, but I got it because it is a mixture of all kinds of different spices. Smells yummy. So I'm going to just pour some in there. And it's called pickling spice. And I got that at Walmart over where they have all the pickling stuff. A lot of them call for peppercorn. I have the ground pepper. I don't have peppercorn. Actually, there were some peppercorns in this, but I'm going to go ahead and put just regular pepper mixed in. Peppercorns would probably be better. I've got yellow mustard seed. The mustard seed is kind of a must for the pickles. Like I said, you know, it's just an eyeball thing. This adds really good flavor, the fennel. If I had coriander, I'd put coriander, but I think it's in this. And that's why I went ahead and put that in there, because coriander is a really good one to put in there. And I'm not going to put the red pepper flake because I'm only going to put it in the one, so I'm not going to put it in this. And this is celery flakes, just for a little more flavor. Okay, so I've got all my ingredients in. The red pepper flakes, since I don't want both of them spicy, I'm just going to go ahead and put some in here. I'm trying to make this one a little more spicy because some of my family likes it spicy. And then we're going to mix. I'm going to mix this up. And you really don't want a whole lot in each one, but. And really, I didn't do it, but I didn't lay. You can layer the jalapenos or habaneros or whatever type of peppers you want. I did not do that right now. I'm going to actually do it with the garlic, but once we get the brine in, I will flip it upside and up and down, and that will help get it around. And then after it ferments for a while, you can do the same thing, and that will help deliver it evenly. So I'm going to add a little more. Add a little more. I think that's good. Okay. So before I make the brine, I'm going to go ahead and stuff these, and then I'll make the brine, and then we're just going to pour it over. So I'm going to stuff it as tight as I can, and I've got red onions and the pickles, and I'm going to just keep pushing it and packing it in. One thing I found is I never put enough in there because I don't pack it enough. I'm going to try to pack it as much as I can in here and get more in. Looks pretty. Go ahead and add another garlic to it. See, I'm going to go ahead and do this one. I may have to have another small jar. May not have enough in here. You want to keep a little space, but I keep pushing it down. You want to leave space for because you want the brine to cover it all. So that's good. And that's good. Oh, it didn't add. There. Now, we'll just leave it like that, and if I can add more pickles in after a while, I will. Well, maybe I'll go ahead and get them in. Because there's not that many, so I'll just get them in. Okay. Now, I use red onions. You can use white or yellow onions, too. I think the red onions add a little more flavor to it. So now, let me get a pan. Okay, we're going to do 1 cup of white vinegar. Oh, it's making me want to cough. 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar. And this recipe actually called for 1.5 cups of white vinegar, but I'm going to do water. So I've got 1/2 cup of red wine vinegar. Apple cider vinegar. I'm going to go ahead and top it to the top for 1 cup of water. So, 1/2 cup of water too, instead of all vinegar. Pour that in. Now, I'm going to put 1/2 teaspoon. I have sea salt. You sea salt or kosher salt. Better not to use table salt. You can if that's all you have. But kosher or this type of salt is the best salt to use. 1/2 teaspoon. I'm going to go ahead and put some of the mustard seed in this. It helps get the flavors, which that was about 1/4 of a teaspoon. And we're going to add the sugar now. I'm going to go with 1/4 of white sugar. My recipe called for 1/2. So if you like them really sweet, then put 1/2. But I'm going to put 1/4 of white sugar and 1/4 of brown sugar, and try it that way and see if that it's still sweet enough but cuts it down a little bit. I saw a recipe that said if you like sweet, to start with 1 teaspoon and keep tasting and work it up. Which, when you cook your brine, you can taste it and see if you like it, because that's what it's going to taste like. And so then that kind of helps you know what you want to do. Another thing you can add, if you want, I don't have it, and I didn't add it to my last, but turmeric. Add a little bit of turmeric, and I'll put it in the descriptions how much below. But basically, the turmeric helps make the pickles continue to look really green. Now we're just stirring this and bringing it to a slow boil, and let it work all its flavor together. And then we'll just taste it. Another pickling recipe, other ones that I have used, has used equal parts vinegar and equal parts water. This didn't even have water in it. I just added water to it. So I think that the water kind of helps dilute the tartness maybe. And then you can use, I used white vinegar and apple cider vinegar. You can use any vinegar you want. That's up to you. And actually, as far as the flavorings I put in, that was my choice of flavorings. You can get creative and put your own flavors in your pickles. Make it your own recipe. This is an easy one to do that with. Okay, I've kind of tasted my brine, and I think that it does need more sugar. I think the fact that it's more vinegar than water maybe is partly why it uses more sugar. I'm going to add just a little bit more and try that. I'm just doing a little at a time to see how, because I'm trying to add as little as possible. Okay, so now it's to a rolling boil. I'm going to turn it off, and then I'm going to let it sit just to cool for a little while, so that when you put it in the jar, it doesn't crack the jar. So we'll wait and do that. And if it's not enough for both of my jars, I'll make another set. It doesn't take very long. So whenever you make these pickles, just to know, you can do any vegetable in there, and you can, if you like them raw, you can put them in raw. If you want to give them a little bit of a sear before you put them in, or boil them for just a second or something, you can do that. I like mine raw. But you can do any vegetables. You don't have to put sugar in it. Other than this recipe, it's basically the same amount of water as vinegar. So 1 cup of vinegar, 1 cup of water, and 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. And you bring your brine to a boil and then let it sit and cool. So that's basically, from this, you can make any pickling stuff that you want to make. Okay, so it's cooled. It's still really hot, but it's cooled some. Not a lot, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in. You can hear it filling in the cracks to fill it up. Make sure all the air pockets are full. I have a feeling I'm going to have to make a second batch for the other one. We'll see. Yeah, because I don't even have enough in the first one. So we'll keep. Maybe I have enough. You make sure it's, get all down in there. You want it to cover it all up, which is, they float, so it's kind of hard. Okay, so we're going to put a tight lid on it. It's probably a good idea to say what, or you know, I don't know about saying what it is. You can see what it is, but date it. Okay, so now I'm going to try to mix it up a little bit. What's at the bottom? See, you can see them moving around. The seasonings moving through there. The same with this one. Try to get them. You can see them. Get it. Now the jalapenos won't move, but so that means the bottom will be spicier than the top, because I should have layered it, but you can do it however you like. So you can see. So now I'm just going to set them aside because we want it to cool off before we put it in the refrigerator, and basically they're fermenting. So I can put them in the refrigerator tonight or in the morning, and then we'll just wait to eat them, and that's it. That's how you pickle pickles, or pickle cucumbers, pickle okra, pickle anything you want. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. Be sure and be sure and hit like and to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.